to The Gist. Today, we're going to be talking about decision making and why so many of us fall into some common traps and what we might be able to do differently. While decision making on a large scale has been studied extensively as it applies to leadership, business, policy development, we often don't apply much rigor to decisions in our own lives. Most of us don't formally learn decision making. We pick it up indirectly by watching our elders or leaders and through our own life experience. By trial and error, by making mistakes, and hopefully, gradually, making better decisions as we mature. But what if we viewed decision making as a key life skill, approaching each decision more systematically, not reactively? Would this make the process less fraught with stress? Could we better prepare our children by delegating responsibility earlier, not hovering as much, and letting them build their decision-making muscle? An important first step is to realize that not all decisions are equal. We face a range of decisions in life which can usually be divided into a few broad categories. Small versus large transformative decisions differ in size, but sometimes little recurring daily choices made consistently, like what we eat, how active we are, can have as much long-term impact as more major life decisions like who to marry, where to live, or what career to follow. Sometimes we face simple choices where no matter what we pick, we won't go wrong. But at other times, decisions can be complex with high stakes and present both opportunities and consequences. Here, we can preserve our mental resources by making the simpler decisions quickly and investing more time in careful, deliberate analysis of the riskier ones. Too often, we spend too long on simple matters, leaving us drained and unable to deal with bigger decisions. Easy decisions are easy because there's a clear best option. But when we have multiple options that may be equally good or bad, with no clear criteria to help us decide, that can feel much harder. In the case of these hard choices, we must, as philosopher Ruth Chang says, dig deep, develop our own criteria, and select a path based on what we value most at the time. Having assessed what type of decision we're facing, the next step is to go about making a decision with as much clarity of mind as we can muster. Here are a few ideas that might help us all with that process. Apply an objective lens. It's easy to get swept up in emotions or get overwhelmed by information. It helps to have an objective framework to evaluate options. There are numerous tools on the internet that might help, but I find it best to keep things simple. A pros and cons list or a hand-drawn decision tree or flowchart always work well for me. The act of writing helps us to slow down our thinking and apply logic to the problem at hand, with something concrete and tangible to base our decisions on. Listen to your body. While our minds allow us to apply reason, the body provides its own wisdom. In decision-making, it's helpful to stay attuned to how our bodies are feeling, tense, restless, relaxed, and what that might mean in terms of the direction we want to take in a particular situation. Keeping our bodies calm can in turn help our minds feel spacious while decision-making. Avoid overthinking. Once we've looked at the facts, applied logic, and observed our physical sensations, we can arrive at a decision. At this point, it's time to move forward with our chosen path and stop overthinking. We waste so much precious time and energy overthinking decisions rather than trusting the process we followed to get there. We can never know for sure how things will turn out, but that is the nature of life, and overthinking certainly will not change that fundamental fact. This is what Daniel Kahneman often calls the focusing illusion, where nothing is really as important as we think it is while we're thinking about it. We get trapped in our own minds and lose all perspective of the bigger picture. We become consumed by a situation and forget that in a week, a month, or a year, this won't matter as much as we think it will. Resist second guessing. As we start acting on a given decision, it's natural to have doubts from time to time, but chronic second guessing robs us of our self-confidence. It's important to stay positive and see how things unfold. We can do everything possible to make our decision work out in the manner that we hope, but we're never in full control. Life happens, circumstances change, and we don't know what we don't know. That doesn't mean our original decision was wrong. Let go of perfect outcomes. Sometimes we have difficulty making decisions because we're in the grips of FOMO and FOBO, fear of missing out, and fear of better options. We go into a mental spin cycle trying to figure out the optimal solution to a problem, but life is messy and things rarely work out exactly as we had hoped. Even so, there's always something we can learn from each experience, something we can do better next time, or sometimes enjoy seeing that things worked out differently but better than we could have imagined. The important thing is to commit to a path fully and then make course corrections along the way. As with most things in life, we get better the more we do them. Life presents us with decisions all the time, moment by moment, day after day. So there are lots of opportunities to practice making decisions. And as with any habit, we can start small. We can practice getting good at making small decisions and apply that confidence to bigger decisions. Then we can be more relaxed, skillful, and keep a healthy perspective while dealing with whatever forks in the road we might face throughout life. On that note, wishing you a great week ahead as you tackle the many decisions in your life, and see you next week on The Gist.